Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder, the show where we just review whatever the hell we feel like.
Yes,
And now we can swear within the first 30 seconds of the video. Thanks, YouTube.
yes, you bastards. Oh, uh, but yeah, if you're returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff, as DB said. We review whatever we feel like reviewing. Now, I should probably make a quick note that the two movies that we're reviewing this week were not the ones we originally picked.
No, in fact, let me go ahead and I didn't plan on this originally, but let's go ahead and pull up uh, the movie posters for them. So
Yeah. Let's just say we kind of went with movies that were more obscure, especially and they were more recent too. And I got about 15 minutes into one of them, and I said no, thank you. Uh, and I think DB, you kind of had the same thing.
yeah, so let's just do a quick hit list of things that we jumped out of.
Yes. So I tried to watch Paws of Fury, which is about a dog. I don't remember the dog's name. Voiced by
I think it's Hank, right? Because it's Legend of
Hank.
Hank.
Hank, right? Hank, right? I couldn't be bothered.
It left such an impact on you.
I know I had such an impact. Hank, who's voiced by Michael Cera, and he's a dog who wants to be a samurai, and then he ends up in a village full of cats, and of course, cats hate dogs,
Right.
And there's this like cat chieftain who wants to wipe out this village, and so he gets rid of the samurai guarding the village because that samurai is apparently a scaredy cat. And but then they go to the shogun because wanting another samurai, and but then they went to the guy that ran the other one off, and it's just nonsensical plot, and really bad cat jokes and cat puns.
Mm.
And I noped out when I stuck with it a lot longer than I intended to, because I was waiting for Hank to show up, because I'm like, okay, I'll wait for the main character to show up in the movie, and then but then he shows up. It's like, no, it didn't get any better. It got worse. And
Oof.
and there and I noped out. Piss off. Sorry, spam call. I noped out when Hank gets hit in the face with a walk by an old cat lady, an actual cat, not an old cat lady.
Right.
And then one of the characters says, well, "That's what I call walking the dog." And then another character says, "Yeah, because she hit him in the head with a walk."
Okay, so that's even worse than I thought from your description. So they didn't trust the kids to get the joke.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I saw, as soon as that joke came up, I heard that, I went, nope, I'm done. I'm out. No more.
Well, as I recall from the production history of this one, it sat on the shelf for a couple of years before they crapped it out onto screens.
That doesn't surprise me.
So
Probably should have left it on there and gotten a tax write-off for it.
So mine is Popstar Never Stop Stopping, which was on my mind because we have done a couple of SNL movies recently, and this one always struck me as like the stealth SNL movie, because it's basically the Lonely Island movie.
Mm.
And I had actually listened to the album a few times over the years, and there are some really funny songs in it. And the music video they had at the start was actually pretty good. But what I found myself not enjoying was the minute-to-minute jokes. Like, they just weren't especially funny. It's one of those things where I might give it a shot again in the future, and I'm in the right mood and I actually enjoy myself. But this weekend just was not in that headspace.
Yeah. Mm.
I will agree. I will say though, my suspicion that it was the stealth SNL movie that wasn't technically an SNL movie was right, because so much of the SNL extended staff in there, like is it Maya Rudolph who plays who was Kamala Harris during the campaign?
Probably. Yeah.
I think that's her name. She was in there. Just a Hater was in there. Just a bunch of them.
Mm.
The only reason it isn't an SNL character spinoff movie is because they never actually had this character who's a super self-important, basically a Justin Timberlake parody, because they started off as a rap trio, and then he took over the group. One member left to do his own thing, and the other member stuck around as a sycophant DJ. So again, maybe I give this a shot again in a couple of years, and it finally hits that sweet spot for me, and I enjoy it. But for the moment, I would just say go listen to the album, because you don't really need the music videos to find it funny.
Yeah. Okay.
But so let's get back to what we actually reviewed, because
Yes.
we decided to do something a little more serious. Which, boy, let me tell you, after failing to watch Popstar, Sicario, that was some mood whiplash right there.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. So this was one I picked, Sicario, which is I'd seen it. I think I saw it like maybe a year or two after it came out on Blu-ray, or may have watched it on Netflix or whatever it was. And then so I thought, well, let's give it another watch, because I remember it being decent. But what I didn't know, and of course, nobody knew who this guy was at the time, but this movie was written by Taylor Sheridan. Um, for those of you, if you've never heard of him, where have you been?
Yeah,
Probably.
he basically is propping up Paramount Plus at this point.
Yeah, he is.
Because it didn't even work on that Stallone show.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's
like
one of his. Yeah. Yeah, he really didn't gain any kind of prominence until Yellowstone.
right.
But yeah, so I mean, he wrote the movie, and then Denis Villeneuve directed it. Of course, Denis Villeneuve, he did the Dune movies, Blade Runner 2049. He did Arrival with Amy Adams, which I still kind of want to watch that movie.
Yeah. I've had it described to me a number of times, and I do and don't want to watch it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And hey, Ninja, good to see you.
Hey, man.
He got on. I got in my radar thanks to Denis Villeneuve being hired for the next. Oh, yeah, the next Bond film. Oh, that's right. He's doing the next James
Oh,
Bond movie.
no. Well, that tells me that we aren't going to get a return to the goofy 80s Bond I was kind of hoping we'd see a resurgence of. This is going to, if he's the director, then he's going to double down on the depressing Daniel Craig era Bond.
Yeah. Boy. All right.
Which getting back to this movie,
Yes.
So that is certainly a combination of Denis Villeneuve and Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, but this movie, it stars Emily Blunt. She plays an FBI agent who works in hostage rescue, and the opening of the movie sees her and her team raiding a house where they think there's a kidnapping victim, but instead they find the house is just the walls are lined with a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, they're stuffed into the crawl spaces between the walls.
Yeah,
and that does set the tone of the movie very quickly. It's kind of part of Taylor Sheridan's oeuvre of, man, the Southwest is whack, yo.
Yeah.
is the best way I could think of to put it. Yeah, she gets involved with this, and then I kind of forget, because it's been a bit since I watched it. There was like an explosion there at the house that she was caught up in.
Yeah. So Another character in there is her partner, Reggie, who's played by Daniel Kaluuya. I'm very sorry for butchering his name.
Okay.
He was in. Most people remember him from Get Out.
Was he also in Black Panther?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, he was like the rhino farmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who I find amusing. Everybody quotes him as like, "Oh man, if you bring in refugees, you bring their problems with them," and everyone goes based, and then they seem to forget that he changed his mind by the end of the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so they well, what happens is there's a tool shed in the backyard, and a bunch of cops try to the floorboards are chained, so they try to break it open, and then it blows up. So then after this, we then meet Josh Brolin's character, Matt Garver, who is what did they say? He was a DOD official or something like that, attaché, something like that.
Isn't he CIA?
Well, he's CIA, but he was. His cover was that he worked for the DOD.
Okay.
Yeah, he was using some real weak cover. And so he recruits Emily Blunt to help him go after the cartel that was responsible for what was happening in the house. And then we also meet Alejandro, who's played by Benicio del Toro, and he's very mysterious. I don't know anything about him.
And I gotta say, the guy has the most interesting eyes.
He does. Yeah.
He just always looks like he's very tired of everything.
Yeah.
Which also makes him hard to read, which makes him a good choice for these mysterious characters.
Yeah. Yeah. Even in The Last Jedi,
Yeah, which is, I think that's the only movie I can really think of that I've seen him in where I remember seeing him. So
yeah.
I did kind of come into this movie maybe like thinking, like, oh, bad association right there.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah.
Okay, sorry. I guess the question is, we didn't have a chance to talk about this in advance. Do we want to go into some spoilers, or do we want to kind of just give generic thoughts? I'm good either way.
Yeah. I would give this movie kind of like a bare recommend. Just because, I mean, I know it's not going to be for everybody. I mean, we could do maybe some like light spoilers, I guess. Since I mean, it is like 10 years old, so I mean, that's
right. You know what? We're just gonna. I don't think that I necessarily want to do like a full blow by blow of the plot, just because my general take on the movie is it's a pizza cutter.
Mm-hmm.
All edge, no point. is my general take on it.
Yeah. Because and that might be part of Taylor Sheridan's commentary on it, is with the war on drugs being what it is. It's like there's really no winning the war on drugs. It's mainly just controlling it.
Right. I mean, like they say at some point, until 20% of the population stops doing drugs, the best we can do is mitigation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think one of the things that I noticed it, and I know you noticed it too, was just how ineffective Emily Blunt's character is in this movie. Like, she really doesn't do anything.
Right, which is also okay. So the one spoiler I will give here is actually, okay, before I say this is kind of like the crux of the movie. It is absolutely not up my alley at all. I tend to have a very I think it's been documented by this point that I tend to not really gel well with Taylor Sheridan's oeuvre. I think the only one where I did enjoy myself was that Stallone show, Tulsa King.
Yeah.
That's probably because of the Stallone influence on it. That made it a bit more lighthearted than normal.
Yeah.
But like I usually find myself like being midline or apathetic or just not enjoying it.
Yeah.
So it's look, the fact that the man is propping up Paramount Plus and everybody's rushing to give him TV shows, there is clearly an audience for the man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm just not it. Or it sounds like so. If I'm giving it like a D, it sounds like you're giving it like a C.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. Actually the movie kind of reminds me of another one of Taylor Sheridan's stuff, Lioness, which is the show about a CIA operative. They take a woman and they call her the Lioness, and they put her like undercover with terrorist groups.
I didn't know that was one of his.
Yeah, that was one of his. Yeah. Yeah, it's with Zoe Saldana. I got like 2 episodes into it and I dipped out because the woman, the character who's the Lioness, she was getting on my nerves. Like I found it really hard to despite the fact that she had like a very hard life, found it very hard to like her, and because of the way her personality was. It's just like gosh, she's driving me crazy.
Well, I mean, at least she had a personality, which I think would be my critique of Emily Blunt in this movie.
Yeah, she doesn't have much of a personality. Yeah,
like she's well-meaning. She's just kind of there.
Yeah.
And I did keep thinking about, okay, why did they bring in this 130-pound woman into like this super dangerous operation where they're going into Mexico and like fighting the cartel hand to hand, and and like she does kind of luck into some information later, but it's not like that wasn't an intentional thing. That was just some bad luck.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you find out because
this is the spoiler, the crux of the movie. So
yeah, the spoiler.
If you're a Taylor Sheridan stan who hasn't sent me a suspicious ticking package yet, and you haven't, this movie wasn't on your radar, go watch it. It is very much in the style that you've come to expect.
Yeah.
Yes, as Daniel was about to reveal.
Yes, as I was about to reveal. So the only reason she's there is because technically the CIA cannot operate on American soil unless they have a domestic agent who is like working with them, who's attached to the group or like a liaison.
And what's really funny is that they reveal this right around the moment where I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is this person doing here?
Yeah.
She's doing nothing. They aren't letting her do anything. And that's the point, because yeah, like they specifically tell her, yeah, keep your safety on your gun. Don't point it at anything. Just, you're here. You're there. She's the beard, basically. She's there to make things look nice.
Yes. Yeah. And Ninja asks about what we thought of the directing. It was all right. It was good. I mean, it was definitely Villeneuve's style.
A lot of panning shots from the air, very slow.
Yes, a lot of wide distance shots.
Yep.
Like there's one part where like Emily Blunt and Josh Brolin are arguing, and you see it from like really far away, and I'm sick of zoom in.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where I didn't know who was behind it until I hit the credits, because I don't usually look these things up in advance.
Yeah.
But as soon as I saw the credits, I said, "Oh, that's the style."
Yeah, like that explains why I feel the way I feel about this movie.
Yep. Which that is a superior experience to going in thinking, oh, this is going to be another Taylor Sheridan joint. Is he going to be having fun like in Tulsa King? No, because for the most part, his style is anti-fun, which is the point.
Yeah.
Like this is it's like Chinatown, but without the charm of the characters and actors.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I will say, if you're looking for something that Taylor Sheridan worked on that was decent and that we both enjoyed, Hell or High Water.
That was the bank robbery one, right?
Right. Yeah. Chris Pine and Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, like I think that's another one where you enjoyed it a bit more than I did, but I would call it like that's my bear recommend and you're higher than bear recommend.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's but no, it and also Benicio del Toro is like his character didn't really do anything for me. Like they had a bit at the end where he executes the cartel leader's family as he is about to take over his operation.
Yeah.
And I could just like, okay, pull the trigger. Come on, just do it.
Yeah.
See, this is why I fundamentally don't watch horror movies, and this is why Daniel and I have slightly different tastes. For some people, they enjoy that tension. Like, oh man, he's about to pull the trigger, isn't he? Or oh man, is Jason about to jump out of the trees?
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I know I know the awful thing is about to happen. Just come on, stop wasting my time. Come on, here. I see what you're doing. This tension does nothing for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So no, this is not an objective critique of the movie. This is like my personal reaction to it. So
yeah.
Like I said, there's definitely an audience for this movie. It's well beloved. Amusingly, your boy Zach described his comic book Iron Sights as being like Sicario, even though he had never seen the movie Sicario.
Yeah. Well, I will say it was popular enough that they did a sequel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What was it called?
The other thing that's in the back of my mind the whole time is I kept confusing this movie with Syriana or whatever that was.
Oh yes, yeah, with George Clooney. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. Sicario, Day of the Soledad.
Which I think that means solitary.
I think so. Yeah, and Taylor Sheridan wrote that one too.
The man is a writing machine.
He is. Yeah. But yeah.
Like Daniel, any last thoughts?
Well, if you're curious to watch it, it's on Netflix.
Well, speaking of man-machine hybrids,
yes,
and things on Netflix, a rare double transition.
Yes, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. This was my solo for the week. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you know that I think it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I did a review of Cyberpunk 2077, the game. And so I decided I'd give the anime series a watch.
Whoops. I had the full screen, so everything was super tiny. I got myself an ultra wide monitor, so it isn't the best for showing off of. Sorry to interrupt, but I just in case the audience was wondering, why did the picture suddenly get bigger? Because DB finally noticed and did his job.
That's right. Yeah. So after playing Cyberpunk 2077, I decided to give the series a watch. Didn't really know anything about it going into it, other than what I knew about the universe from playing the game. But the series, I believe, takes place based on some of the Easter eggs that I've seen in the game. The series takes place, I think, like a year or two before the game, so it's like 2075, 2076. And it the series centers on David Martinez, who's he's a kid from a kind of a lower income area of Night City called Santo Domingo, which If you play the games, one of the fixers in the game, one of the guys who gives you your missions and gigs and everything, he's from that area too. El Capitan is what you call him. But anyway, so David he's living there with his mom, who is a paramedic, and she's working really hard to get David into Arasaka Academy, which is this private school. But David, of course, hates it because he's a poor kid and surrounded by a bunch of rich kids, and he's got one guy there who's a real bully, and his dad is like a big exec at Arasaka. And one day, David just he gets a BD scroll, which is basically like a virtual reality thing that you use in the cyberpunk universe. And he sees this. So in cyberpunk, what happens is with some people is if they get too much cybernetics in them, they end up going nuts and they get what's called cyber psychosis, and they just go on these like killing sprees. And in the game, there's actually a side quest where you actually go around stopping all of these cyber psychos. And of course, the whole thing with that is you have to make sure you don't kill them, because the fixer that is doing those missions wants them alive so that they can be treated instead of So David sees the one of these attacks on a BD, and then he finds out that his mom was at the scene of it, and to earn some extra money, she's been taking some of the implants from some of these cyber psychos and selling them. And one day, David does something really bad at school, and they're driving home, and then they get caught in a shootout between two gangs, and then his mom dies, and then so now he's all alone. And then he finds an implant that his mom had, and it's oh god, I can't remember the name of it. It starts with an S, but it's basically like an artificial spinal column. And instead of trying to sell it, David decides he wants to get it put in himself, and he does. And he beats up his bully, and then he gets expelled. And so now he's just kind of drifting around. And then as he's riding the train, he meets Lucy, who's the girl on the poster. And then he finds out that she kind of traps him in her kind of lures him to her apartment. And then David finds out that she's part of a crew of mercenaries, and that the spinal implant was actually meant for their boss. And then Ninja, thus beginning his sim park.
I need an adult. I am an adult.
Yeah. So then David convinces Maine, who's the leader of the group, to let him join him and work for him. So he does, and then thus the rest of the series is basically David's rise from being part of this low-level part of this gang to actually eventually leading the group, because Maine gets his own bout of cyber psychosis. And I believe it was episode 7 was when David gets really swole. Like he goes from being like this little skinny kid to being this big buff guy. But I will say the last 2 episodes were pretty well good standouts, because that's where it really everything all comes to a head. And one of the characters from Cyberpunk 2077 does show up, Atom Smasher, who's basically just a giant cyborg. And I'm trying to think. A couple of other characters have like small cameos in there. But other than that, like most of the characters in this are just original characters for the show.
Yeah, you have kind of an interesting perspective on this, because a lot of people watched this first and they were reminded that the game existed and had gotten a couple years of patches by this point.
Yeah.
And so like you were looking for references to the show in the game, whereas like a lot of people would be like looking for references to the show. I said it backwards. You're looking for references to the game in the show. A lot of people who were introduced to the series by this will be looking for references to the show in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And my first reference to the show was when there's a little side mission where you find the same brain dance, the same BD that David watches in the first episode in the game, and it's just the clip from the TV show. And then you kind of leads you down this path, and then you eventually get David's jacket as a reward for it. Ninja points out that Adam Smasher was actually more threatening in the show than he was in the game, because you actually do fight him at the end of the game, and it's a little underwhelming. But yeah, I mean the series was actually really decent. I thought it was it's a cyberpunk story. It's as you would expect from this universe. It's very dark. Doesn't have a happy ending, which depending on how you play the game, you either get a somewhat happy ending or a really awful ending.
So it's in keeping with the tone of the universe.
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah. And animation was decent. I mean, it was done by Studio Trigger, who did they did Delicious and Dungeon.
And okay, so I kind of autismed out about their cover or their adaptation of Delicious and Dungeon at the time. This, from what I recall when I watched some of it a few years back, was a good use of the Trigger style.
It is.
They did a lot of good kinetic stuff with his ability to slow down his perception of time, and and also like the neon aesthetics of cyberpunk like really play to their strengths. Like design wise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. And they were very true to the aesthetic of the game as well, because I mean you see like all of the little details that you saw that you see in the game is in the TV show too. So yeah, they did a really good job with that. And Ninja says, the only way to subvert a Cyberpunk 2077 story is to end a story in a completely happy way. Exactly. Yeah. But
like I didn't finish it partially because I could tell it was going nowhere happy, but also partially because my friend group that was meeting up to watch it it's one of those things where it's like if nobody suggests watching it week to week, then it just kind of gets quietly dropped.
Yeah, that'll happen.
I just from everything I've heard about it, it's like okay, no, I don't think I'd be happy with that ending. Or it's like I didn't necessarily. I feel mean saying this, but I didn't necessarily care that much about the main character. Like they did a good job of giving him things to be sympathetic for, but it's I'm not a cyberpunk fan, so
I hear you.
But that's another case of this isn't to my taste, but it clearly is to a lot of other people, because if you do like kind of tragic endings and noirish cyberpunk stories, then you're in for a treat.
Yeah. And what was it? Oh yeah, and if you watch the English dub version, the guy who voices David Martinez is the same guy who voiced Tanjiro in Demon Slayer. So
somewhat different characters.
Yes.
He even had a little girl character that he could have carried around in a basket, but they missed that opportunity.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, it occurs to me that I've said two things in a row, like, this isn't like what I want in a show. But it's quality. So DB, if your taste is so amazing, what did you choose to watch this week on your own? what's the saying? Don't kill the cringe, kill the part of you that cringes. Okay, so this is the Uma Musume OVA Road to the Top, which I'll just say in advance is available for free on YouTube, because I think that they just animated this specifically to put up on YouTube to try to draw people into the gacha game, which is the real moneymaker.
Yes.
It's a 4-episode OVA. And did I say the title, the full title?
I don't know.
I'll say it again, just to be better twice than 0 times.
Yeah.
Uma Musume, Pretty Derby, Road to the Top. And if you just look for a Road to the Top on YouTube, there are all 4 episodes for you.
Yeah. All right.
So, Uma Musume, if you didn't catch my last review, which the analytics say you didn't, and that honestly wasn't my best review. I was very sleep deprived, and and I, like, among other things, I forgot to mention the overall premise of it, which is basically they take historical racehorses and turn them into anime girls. Which means that for the storylines, they quite often they'll quite often adapt the real racing careers of these horses. Although they will do things like a couple of racers who broke a leg and died on the track or had to be euthanized. They gave them mercy and let them keep coming back. Because this show doesn't. The show is very much hyper focused on athletic competition and feelings of inadequacy around that, and wanting to do your best. So actually watching Rice Shower die on the track would not have actually like. I don't think I think the fans would revolt if they tried that.
Yeah. And Ninja says, sorry, this franchise is the reason why I had to watch War of the Worlds 2025 so that Chengiz would watch Freerun.
Wait. So that was your exchange as you watched like you imagine them letting this cute little thing die.
Yeah.
The fans would revolt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what is this show about? So this is since it's only 4 episodes, it's a very specific slice of horse racing history, where you had this 3-way rivalry between, from right to left here, TM Opera O, Narita Top Road, and Admire Vega. And they were in a series of, it's like I believe they call this is the Triple Crown race, where it's like these 3 key races, and they were just slugging it out for first, second, and third in these.
So yeah, like the Kentucky Derby and Belmont, and what was the other Preakness, I think is what we have here. So it's kind of like that.
Yeah, it's like these, and it's also it's part of their classics, which basically means that the horse is only allowed to race in that race during their initial year. So it's like you only get 1 shot at these titles, which ramps up the pressure a bit, which each of them responds to in their own way. And the best way I have to describe this is you have a theater kid, an emo, and a cheerleader in a sports competition. And I'll say 2 of the 3 have complex characters, and one of them is TM Opera O. TM Opera O is, however, my favorite character because she is a completely delusional blowhard. Like she has this interesting aura of toxic positivity around her. Like just how great everything is. Like how great she is. And she doesn't ever get mad when things go wrong. Like if she loses a race, she doesn't start raging out and blaming everyone but her. Like she's not a Napoleon. She's I actually kind of, but like she, like a scene in the show that kind of exemplifies it is she has this other horse character whose name I'm forgetting off the top of my head, who's kind of her lackey. The lackey brings her soda, drops the soda, catches it, but it gets all shaken up. She opens it up, gets it splashed all over her face. And instead of getting angry, her basic response is, well, how could the soda can fail to burst in my amazing presence? So she is like, again, it works better than it has a right to, but it's just because it is so positive. Admire Vega here, on the other hand, is proof that there are no therapists in Japan. Because
there's some truth to that, yeah.
And especially not in anime.
Yeah.
Because I think that if you decide to watch this, finding out what her personal issue is interesting. But basically, it is a problem that she has created entirely in her head. And so it's kind of compelling to see how she deals with that without ever actually talking to anybody or asking for help. Meanwhile, I would say the main character is Narita Top Road here. She is a bit less interesting than Admire Vega, just because her character arc is that she feels like everybody expects great things from her, and she keeps just barely missing. I think that it's kind of implied that her coach is getting towards the end of his career, and he's never had a racer actually win one of these Triple Crown races. So she feels like she's letting him down. She's like letting down all of her family and friends. And so it's just her learning to deal with failure. As always, there's lots of, I would say this is not where you would want to start the series, because they throw in a lot of cameos and references to other shows in this universe that wouldn't mean anything to you.
Yeah.
But also the other thing I've realized after having people spam me with trivia about these, everything is a reference. Why did TM Opera O happen to run into Oguri Cap, who's the star of another show called Cinderella Gray? Well, it's because Oguri Cap was a horse who wasn't allowed to compete in the Triple Crown, but they changed the rules so he could. By the way, the horses are often male in real life, because most really successful race horses are male.
Yeah.
But they changed the rules so he could compete, which also is what allowed Opera O to compete later on. So them happening to have breakfast together or lunch together is a fifth dimensional reference to that fact. It's like it is like some sort of turbo nerdery for a subject I know nothing about. As an actual show, kind of like what you were thinking with Cyberpunk, I kind of wish there was maybe one or two more episodes to flesh a couple things out.
Yeah.
But since it was hyper focused on just this period of racing, I think that you can get away with it. Because since it is just focused on these three particular races, you don't necessarily want to have too many episodes without one of these key races in them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think they did a pretty good job of adapting it. I would say if this series sounds at all interesting, I would stick with I would get started with the main series, or if you have Amazon Prime, Cinderella Gray is also a decent start.
Mm.
But I would say season 1 of the primary series does the best job of easing you into the world and letting you understand what all this silliness is about.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just basically a good sports show that just happens to have ridiculous levels of references to real life sports.
And Ninja says Neon Genesis, Evangelion, and Berserk are the best examples of Japan not having therapists. Yeah.
To be fair, Berserk is an example of medieval Europe not having therapists, which is fair. Because
they didn't. Yeah.
The closest you had to that was confession with a priest.
Yes. Yeah, and Evangelion. Yeah, I mean everybody on that show's got issues.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing I found out is that the reason why Team Opera O doesn't get her own movie or her own TV show, I should say, is that the actual racehorse. It's like the racehorse had a good first year, but in the third year was overtaken by others, which is why there's a movie that hasn't hit the States yet that shows the downfall of Opera O. And then, but like the horse's second year, undefeated. That would get boring real quick.
Yeah, that would. Yeah.
But all right, I think I've exhausted everyone's patience with horse stuff. So let's move on to our classic of the night, Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy, yes. The movie that introduced us to, introduced a lot of people to Chris Farley, if they didn't know him about it from SNL.
Was this his first movie or like first major role in a movie?
I think this was his first major role in a movie. Yeah,
because he was in Wayne's World, but I forget the chronology of that.
Yeah, he was in Wayne's World 1 and 2. But yeah, he had like very minor roles in both. Although he had a bigger role in the second one than he did in the first one. But yeah, I think this was his first major starring role in a movie. Working alongside. Yeah, it was. It was his first starring role in a movie. But yeah, and of course, alongside his SNL buddy David Spade, who was basically the straight man in the movie.
And it's a good role for him. I always think he's kind of better. Well, actually, okay, he is by his nature a very sarcastic man.
Yes,
I have actually listened to his audiobook biography, which is actually kind of interesting. But it's like, yeah, that is the wheelhouse he plays in.
Yeah. I actually had one of my friends growing up reminded me of David Spade. Very similar, similar personality. Even kind of looked like him too.
Yeah.
But yeah. So with the Tommy Boy, of course, is the story of Tommy Callahan, played by Chris Farley, and he is the son of a car manufacturing or auto parts manufacturing tycoon. His dad's played by Brian Dennehy, and Tommy. As the movie starts off, we see a little scene with him as a kid. I actually like that scene because it was a really good establishing of like, that he's not, he's got a good heart, but he's not all there. He's
not especially bright.
No, he's not very bright. But he's lovable. He's fun to be around. And of course, the whole bit where he doesn't swear.
Holy shnikes!
Holy shnikes! And and if you were a kid growing up in the 90s, like that was every kid used that, to avoid getting in trouble for swearing. You'd say "Holy shnikes," or hits it, "Son of a."
Yeah.
And then, but then we fast forward to him in college.
On his 7th year, I believe.
7th year of college, yes. Which I'm guessing was a reference to Animal House. With
I was wondering.
It probably was, yeah, because Farley. I mean, that was his idol. Farley. That's who Farley patterned all of his humor after was Belushi.
Which is so funny to me because I think of them as being very different comedians. Like what I say is Belushi was much more like he always had this simmering anger under him in his roles, where Farley usually like he could start screaming like a madman, but it was still always like kind of clownish, ridiculous, and like it was like an interruption to general happiness that he had.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are definitely a lot of scenes in there like that in this movie.
Yes.
But yeah, he's well, and he's also he's going to college at Marquette, which is not a podunk university. I mean, that's like going to Duke.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a pretty prestigious university. It's not like Harvard or Yale, but I mean, it's up there. Um, and so kind of pretty amazing there. Obviously, Dad got him in.
Yep.
But yeah, he finally manages to pass his history final and graduate, and so he heads back to his hometown of the Sandusky, Ohio, which is a very very blue collar, very middle America, middle income town. And so then he shows up, and then of course Dad gives him a job, and then he finds out that Dad is getting married to Bo Derek.
Which, as I recall, as she was coming out of the pool in her swimsuit,
Yeah.
Tommy goes, "For me? Nah, son, for me."
Yeah. Yeah. And then he, of course, he makes the little reference to 10, like, oh, she's a 10. Yeah, and of course, she's got a son, played by Rob Lowe, playing another
another pretty boy villain.
Yeah. And of course, he has the famous line with Tommy. Did you eat a lot of paint chips when you were a kid? Why?
Yeah. So it's David's father's wedding. They're having a nice little dance, and the dad just drops stone dead of a heart attack.
Yeah. And as a result, the company is about to get bought out by another big auto part manufacturer, Zelinsky Auto, and Zelinsky is played by Dan Aykroyd, doing his best Chicago accent.
Yep.
And so, in order to save the company, Tommy decides he's going to go around to all their clients to sell about, and he needs to sell $500,000 or 500,000 units. Was that what it was? 500,000 units of auto parts. And of course, everybody's like, well, you don't know anything about sales. You don't know anything about these auto parts. How are you going to sell? He's like, well, I don't know anything. But then he points at David Spade, says, but he knows a lot of stuff. And
yeah, they had previously introduced David Spade as basically his dad's acolyte. It's like Tommy's the biological son. David Spade is the business son. The true acolyte who actually knows the business.
Yeah. And actually seems to care more than Tommy. And so then from there it turns into a road trip movie where they're driving around all these different towns, and of course David Spade's got this this nice vintage sports car that just gets progressively destroyed as the movie goes along.
That's a tradition that kind of need to bring back in movies. Is like, think about like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This one, like just the tradition of destroying the car over the course of the movie.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of it gets mostly destroyed in one glorious scene where they accidentally hit a deer, and they, rather than leaving the deer on the road, they put it in the back seat of the car, only for them to realize that the deer's not dead; it was just stunned. And so it
just destroys the car.
And then Tommy's like, "That was awesome." But sorry about your car.
That's kind of Tommy Boy or Tommy himself as a character in a nutshell. Like a very Homer Simpsons-esque zest for life.
Yeah.
Without a lot of self-reflection, shall we say?
Yes. Yeah.
but it makes him easy to root for because he is trying very hard, even if he doesn't know what the hell to do at first.
Yeah.
Like the time he gets out the lighter and starts just igniting things
Yeah.
to try to prove a point when it looked like he might have already, like he might have been able to make that sale if he hadn't gone off the deep end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it occurred to me as I was watching this, and I've seen this movie a couple of times before, just how perfect the chemistry was between Spade and Farley. They just got each other so well.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. I think the only other movie they did together was Black Sheep, right?
Which is unfortunate because I've never heard anything good about Black Sheep.
Yeah, everything I've heard about it is it's basically just a carbon copy of this movie, just in it with a different setup,
or just politics instead of sales.
Right. Yeah.
Which, I mean, this isn't the. I mean, this is a great movie, so maybe a Pale Imitation would be worth watching at some point.
Yeah.
Just because if you copy an A and make a C, people might be comparing it to the A, but it could still be a C level of enjoyment.
Oh yeah, yeah.
The other thought I had as I was watching this, in a better world where Chris Farley didn't unfortunately die in the mid '90s, we would have gotten possibly a Tommy Boy 2 in the 2000s when they're dealing with globalization and outsourcing, or they could have had a Tommy Boy 2 coming out on Netflix, kind of like Happy
Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore 2, where it's like him dealing with AI and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That could have been a really good movie. Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did pass. I think in 1997, I want to say.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 97, 98. Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, he had a lot of demons.
97, yeah.
97, yeah. He was like 32 or 33.
33. Yeah.
Food,
drugs.
Yeah, food, drugs. Yeah. I think it was mostly the drugs. He had a lot of issues. Much like his hero, his idol, John Belushi, similar thing.
Yeah. It's kind of he formed unfortunately he was the end of the trinity of great comedic actors who died before their time due to their own demons. Great tubby comedic actors between Belushi, John Candy, and then Chris Farley.
Yeah, yeah.
They even had a joke in King of the Hill, I recall, where Bobby, the son, is always wanting to be a comedian or a performer of some sort. And Hank sits him down and tells him that drugs are bad. Dad, I'm not going to do that. I want to be the first fat comedian to break the 40 barrier. It's like, oh. And the sad thing is, like, when that came out, you knew exactly who he was talking about.
Yeah, yeah. And and it's really sad because I mean they did it to themselves, and it's just like, man, yeah.
It's a great case of that joke about Pagliacci the clown, where Pagliacci the clown goes down, or excuse me. A man, I gave away the punchline. A man goes to see a psychiatrist, and he tells him, "Doctor, everything is awful. My food is tasteless. I can't laugh. I have no joy. I have no idea what to do with myself." The doctor says, "Well, I don't have an immediate solution for your problems, but you should go take in a show. Pagliacci the clown is in town tonight. Everyone laughs when he performs." And he says, "That's the problem. I'm Pagliacci." Like the comedian has nobody to make them laugh.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but we did get this movie, which is great, and and unfortunately we didn't get Chris Farley's his version of Shrek, or he was actually also going to do a biopic of Fatty Arbuckle. Yeah,
okay.
which would have actually seen him doing a more dramatic role, as opposed to goofy comedy.
What could have been.
Yeah.
I think part of the reason we drifted into talking about his untimely passing is just because this is just a all-time top-tier comedy,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where you talked about a couple of the jokes, but you don't want to give away everything.
Right. Yeah.
Like I would say in the whole thing, there was only one gag or one sequence that I might have maybe cut, which is the airplane gag.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I wonder if they didn't put that in there because they wanted David Spade to do his bye-bye.
Oh yeah,
from SNL. Yep. Bye-bye.
That's probably it. Probably back
Bye-bye.
with engineers from there.
Yeah. Yeah.
What I'll also say is that this movie, the love interest they gave him,
Yeah.
it is much more clear that she is a good fit for him, just because she has the same tendency of like shouting bloody threats at people when she gets angry in exactly the same way he did.
Yeah.
Which, that can be hard to do in this sort of movie. Like, actually have the love interest have a personality.
Yeah. 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 But if for whatever reason you haven't already seen this movie yet, I think it's on Netflix until the end of the month.
Yeah, I think part of what inspired us to get on this, besides not wanting to watch our initial round of movie choices, was the fact that it was a limited engagement.
Yeah, yeah. But I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, and links for those are in the description. And
I'll have some new books coming out soon, so keep an eye out.
Yes, and Guardian Angel Part 2 is getting there, getting very close. But yes, so we'll see you next week. Night, everybody.
Good night.